From Jet 24, your weather authority, this is your forecast first.
Cloudy skies greet us as we head into the afternoon. A couple of breaks here and there, though, so hopefully we can see at least some peaks of sunshine. Other than that, quite tranquil. Nothing showing up on our storm tracker. Temperature up to 26 degrees here in Erie. Dew point is 7, so nothing's going to really fall to the ground for the afternoon. Well, partly to mostly cloudy skies overall. A few flurries are possible for tonight. Well, the weekend outlook later in the show. Jet 24 Action News starts now.
From your news leader.
Good afternoon. The case of the impeachment of Donald Trump shifts to defense today. A lawyer is prepared to make a fundamental concession. The violence of January 6th was every bit as traumatic, unacceptable, and illegal as Democrats say. Plus, opening arguments today in the case involving a fatal stabbing in the city of Erie. And a good part of the nation getting hammered with winter weather, and it's moving east. How will our area be impacted?
Live in high definition from your news leader. This is Jet 24 Action News at noon.
Well, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Now, I want to remind you that if ABC News interrupts this newscast for the Donald Trump trial, we will take our newscast live streaming on yourerie.com. But first, former President Donald Trump's legal defense team gets their turn to make their case that the former president is not guilty of inciting the January 6th insurrection. This is new today at noon. ABC's Faith Abubi following the trial. She has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Donald Trump's legal team today kicking off their defense of the former president after House impeachment managers spent 2 days laying out an emotional and what bipartisan observers say was an effective case against Donald Trump for inciting the January 6th insurrection.
He struck a match and he aimed it straight at this building.
The Democrats concluding their arguments linking Trump's words to the action of the mob that stormed the Capitol. Arguing the former president showed no remorse even after the deadly riot and should be convicted, or the nation risks a similar domestic attack from a future president.
What unfathomable horrors await us if we do not stand up now and say, no, this is not America.
Let us show the world that January 6th was not America. And let us remind the world that we are truly their North Star.
But ahead of their defense presentation, the former president's lawyers arguing the Democrats' case is lacking.
The evidence they have, under no circumstances, would make out a case for incitement.
The defense expected to paint Trump's words just before the mob attack as merely political speech protected under the First Amendment. The Democrats issuing a preemptive strike.
There's nothing in the First Amendment or anywhere else in the Constitution that can excuse your betrayal of your oath of office.
Sources tell ABC News there's growing tension and infighting within the Trump legal team. Trump himself said to be furious with lead counsel Bruce Castor after a widely criticized performance on Tuesday. The legal team also meeting with 3 GOP senators to talk strategy to ensure most Republicans are united in acquitting Trump.
He should not be convicted, I'll tell you that.
And the Trump team is also expected to argue that an impeachment trial to convict a former president is unconstitutional. But of course, that question was decided before this trial even began. The defense team planning to keep their case short, using 3 to 4 hours. On Capitol Hill, Faith Abubi, ABC News.
Now, as the impeachment trial continues, local party leaders are reacting to what's playing out in the nation's capital. The chair of the Erie County Republican Party, Burl Salmon, sending us a statement reading, quote, "All my Erie County friends of both parties see the impeachment proceedings as ridiculous," end quote. Salmon is not alone. The local Republican Party treasurer is calling the impeachment trial a waste of time. The Erie County Democratic Party chair, Jim Wirtz, disagrees, saying Donald Trump is responsible for the crowds who stormed the Capitol on January 6th.
Nothing that can really come out of it, even if it's results in a conviction, since he's already left office. So I think it's kind of a waste of time and resources that the Congress and the Senate could be utilizing their resources better.
Final chance for closure on what was a long and turbulent 4 years of the Trump administration, and ultimately to get some closure on the events of January 6th.
Word says government officials have been impeached after leaving office before. However, this would be the first time it could happen for a former president. Well, attorneys are making their case this noon hour for a man accused in the fatal stabbing of a woman back in 2019. Kevin Hicks Franklin was in court charged in the fatal stabbing of 20-year-old Starlisha Smith. This was back in May of 2019. Smith was killed after trying to break up a fight between Hicks Franklin and his girlfriend. Prosecutors are arguing that Smith accompanied the girlfriend to a home in the 500 block of East 11th Street to retrieve some clothing. While at the home, a confrontation developed, and Smith was fatally stabbed while trying to defend the other woman. Testimony continues this afternoon, and of course, we'll have the latest coming up on Jet 24 Action News at 5, and you can follow it on yourerie.com. A former Erie car dealer convicted of fraud, sentenced to 51 months in prison. Andy Gabler, owner of Lakeside Auto's 3 locations, is sentenced to 4 years, 3 months in federal prison. Gabler, who did plead guilty, must also serve 2 years of supervised release and pay a $5,000 fine. Gabler and his former finance manager, Chad Bednarski, faced sentencing after admitting to submitting fake paperwork and loan sales. Bednarski's sentencing is scheduled for later this afternoon. The Crime Victim Center teaming up with Calypso Enterprises. That is a medical marijuana company. Calypso is donating more than $480,000 to the Crime Victim Center. The donation allowing the center to expand, opening a new facility for Erie Dawn, an advocacy group for women in need.
The proximity, we're in Center City, one bus ride and you can hit a lot of services. You have CareerLink right across the street. We do tremendous work with them as far as jobs and resumes. And this is just such a central location for people to find us. We've always kind of been tucked away somewhere with not a lot of visibility.
Well, the director of Erie Dawn says this new location will give more women access to these other programs that are also located downtown. Erie County Council is proposing to lower the cost recovery fee that's charged to Erie County prison inmates. Now, they're looking at changing it from 75% to 25% of what is deposited in the inmate's account. This was first proposed by Councilman Andre Horton, but the warden didn't want to change it at all, so a compromise of 50% has been put on the table.
So, in other words, if they deposit $100, the prison takes $75 from that prisoner.
Councilman Horton kind of gets a win in his column because he wanted it to 25. The warden gets a win because he has to make a little compromise, but that's what we're supposed to do in life.
Well, the decision to change the amount to 50% will be voted on during Tuesday's council meeting. Both Shank and Anderson believe it will pass. Well, crews at Pittsburgh International Airport working to move a plane after it skidded off the runway there. Officials say that Delta airline flights with nearly 80 people on board was prepared to take off when it slid off the runway Wednesday night. The plane was supposed to be heading to Atlanta. There were no reports of injuries and the incident is under investigation. Well, the freezing temperatures have caused a difficult situation to get even worse for homeless people. Many shelters now working overtime to help them out. Brian Wilk has more on the Community of Caring's mission to provide basic necessities.
It's a godsend, being outside, if you had to stay outside, you'd probably freeze.
Mark Imhoff is one of many people that eat meals and spend the day at the Community of Caring shelter. Besides dealing with near freezing temps, he is also on disability and cannot work.
It's hard. I've been used to working all my life and used to having a place to stay, and it's a change.
Besides a place to stay during the day, the shelter gives out hot meals and a chance for people to get back on their feet.
We're helping them directing them to the people they need to help them get housing and stuff like that.
Albert is one of the workers who cooks the meals and serves them too. Albert tells us as the temperatures drop, he's seen more people come in for help.
During the day, a lot more people coming in because of the cold. Like, most of the time we don't have issues, but every once in a while, we got to tell people to leave for the safety of the other people.
While people cannot stay there overnight, Albert says there are other organizations they work with that can find them a bed for the night. Brian Wilk, Jet 24 Action News.
And next door to the community of Caring is the Mary Rose Sanctuary. That's the city's first all-women's overnight shelter. Well, with Valentine's Day right around the corner, yes, it's Sunday, authorities are warning people to be aware of scams and phony florists. Many people will be buying flowers online for their loved ones, but according to the BBB, many of those online shoppers complain of damaged flowers or orders arriving late. Now, one way to avoid falling victim to scammers is by shopping local. We spoke with one local florist who says this is the busiest time of the year for them.
Don't be confused when you type in our names, and some of the times one of these scammers will pop up. For example, Auburn's and Auburn, we're ALLBURN, but AUB is somebody else, and they're not local, and they're not even a real florist.
She says roses and their biggest are the biggest sellers during Valentine's Day. She said they sell thousands of them. Well, coming up on Jet 24, Action News at noon, winter weather slamming a good portion of the nation, and we could see some of that weather. Tom's forecast is next. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Dave, especially early next week. Not so much this weekend, though. Right now we have clouds and a couple breaks. We'll have a look at that forecast after the break.
Your news leader. You're watching David Belmondo and meteorologist Tom DeVecchio. This is Jet 24 Action News at noon.
Want the whole story? Go to YourErie.com, where you'll have access to digital exclusive news stories and extended interviews. On the go and want to stay connected to what's happening? No problem. Use the Your Erie To Go app and enjoy all the same digital exclusive content, where you want it, when you need it. Stay informed and stay connected with YourErie.com and Your Erie To Go digital exclusives. Your Erie To Go, available for both Android and iOS.
See live views from around our area on YourErie.com's WeatherCam network. See shots from the WeatherCam network during every newscast and online anytime at YourErie.com.
Come rain or come shine, summer is here, and so is your weather authority. The most experienced weather team in the area and the most up-to-date technology to keep you prepared and safe for whatever Mother Nature brings all summer long. Just like you know how unpredictable our weather can be, you know to count on your weather authority so you can stay comfortable and safe. Tom, and Craig, online, on the go, on air, wherever you need them. Jet 24 is your summer weather authority.
This week, Jill McCormick sits down with local leaders and organizers for the whole story. Go to YourErie.com and the Your Erie To Go app's digital exclusives. Want your news first? We've got you covered.
Download the Your Erie To Go app now.
Get news alerts sent straight to your phone.
Stay safe and informed with severe weather warnings and regular weather updates, whenever and wherever you need them.
Download Your Erie To Go now from the App Store for free.
Get your Jet 24 news and weather where you need it and when you want it. Your Erie To Go. Available for both Android and iOS. Download it for free and stay connected.
From Jet 24, here's meteorologist Tom DeVecchio, your weather authority.
No snow fell from last night, and not seeing much as well for this morning. A couple of breaks in those clouds, and that's really about it. If you look closely, you'll see we have these angelic, what we call crepuscular rays, and those are the rays that come through the breaks in the clouds. Seeing some of them here in the distance. This is our new Motors weather cam, and we are looking south. Here's Route 19, bottom of your screen, headed toward Waterford. And clouds, they look thick, but nothing's really fallen from them. And we're expecting a cloudy afternoon overall with some breaks. And a few shots of snow for tonight into Saturday. A little better chance of some light snow and flurries. for Saturday night into Sunday. Maybe an inch or two from late afternoon tomorrow until maybe midnight on Sunday. Sunday itself looking pretty good for Valentine's Day, and then we could get that storm we just talked about could be affecting us for the early part of next week with maybe some pretty good snow. We'll have to see for that. Temperatures right now from 20 in Union City to 27 for Dr. Tom Nagyp here. Mid-20s for everyone else in between. Ed has 30 in Westmead. Most everyone else are pretty much in the 20s. 28 in Plummer, 22 Canadota Lake, and out toward Youngsville and Saybrook, temperatures that were near 10 this morning, now in the lower 20s. So we do have a decent amount of clouds again, and looks like we're trying to get a little clearing here off toward the west. So I'm hopeful that we'll see a little bit of sunshine for the afternoon. This really cleared up in the past half hour. Probably messing up my forecast because I figured a lot of clouds. But hey, seeing a little sunshine, that's not too bad. This trough kind of hanging around the area, and that will eventually be the focus for a little bit of snow as we head on toward tomorrow. You just see it really doesn't go away. It's not very strong, but by Saturday, late in the day and into the evening, a little bit of precip with it. And then Valentine's Day looking nice. Most of the snow for Valentine's Day will stay to our east. Then here comes the next storm system that's going to affect us on Monday. That will interact with this trough. And we could get some pretty good snow amounts. So there's a lot of play here. Models are not on track with this. We have a wide range. But there could certainly be some plowable snow for Monday night and into the day on Tuesday as this next stronger system comes up, spreading some pretty good snow into the region. A little freezing rain could mix in as well. That just kind of adds to the uncertainty, but that's all for early next week. We'll have Craig take care of you for that one there. Skies will be mostly cloudy for today. Some breaks in those clouds. Temperatures in the mid to upper 20s here along the lake shore. On the inland side, clouds and then some breaks. Your highs also in the mid to upper 20s for the Chautauqua-Allegheny area. We're looking at partly to mostly cloudy. Highs in the mid 20s. For tonight, some flurries around, 9 in the mountains, 18 here along the lake shore. Mostly cloudy, light snow and flurries for tomorrow, especially late in the day. And snow showers Saturday night. Might accumulate about an inch or so before diminishing after midnight. Sunday, pretty much snow-free, maybe some early flurries. Snow showers Monday and snow, maybe some good amounts Monday night and into Tuesday. And then we could go through this again on Thursday as the next in an endless stream of those storms. Could be an active week next week. You can find any changes to that forecast anytime through the weekend. Head to our website, yourerie.com.
Thank you, Tom. Coming up on Jet 24, Action News at noon. Health officials at the Martin Luther King Center are seeing low COVID-19 positive numbers. Find out more after the break.
Want the whole story? Go to yourerie.com, where you'll have access to digital exclusive news stories and extended interviews. On the go and want to stay connected to what's happening? No problem. Use the Your Erie to Go app and enjoy all the same digital exclusive content, where you want it, when you need it. Stay informed and stay connected with yourerie.com and Your Erie to Go digital exclusives. Your Erie to Go, available for both Android and iOS.
See live views from around our area on yourerie.com's WeatherCam network. See shots from the WeatherCam network during every newscast and online anytime at yourerie.com.
Come rain or come shine, summer is here, and so is your weather authority. The most experienced weather team in the area and the most up-to-date technology to keep you prepared and safe for whatever Mother Nature brings all summer long. Just like you know how unpredictable our weather can be, you know to count on your weather authority so you can stay comfortable and safe. Tom, and Craig, online, on the go, on air, wherever you need them. Jet 24 is your summer weather authority.
This week, Jill McCormick sits down with local leaders and organizers for the whole story. Go to yourerie.com and the Your Erie to Go app's digital exclusives. Want your news first? We've got you covered.
Download the Your Erie to Go app now.
Get news alerts sent straight to your phone.
Stay safe and informed with severe weather warnings and regular weather updates, whenever and wherever you need them.
Download Your Erie to Go now from the App Store for free.
Get your Jet 24 news and weather where you need it and when you want it. Your Erie to Go. Available for both Android and iOS. Download it for free and stay connected.
Let's take a look now at this afternoon's market numbers. And at noon, markets are up. The Dow was up just over a point. NASDAQ in the green this hour, up 28 points. And the S&P 500 in positive territory this hour, up 7 points. Now to the weather and that deadly ice storm on the move. That same storm that caused this massive and deadly chain reaction crash in Texas, moving into the Carolinas and southern Virginia with some slick roads this morning. But almost every part of the country is bracing for extreme conditions in the next few days with snow and ice and temperatures dipping below zero. ABC's Mona Kozar-Abdi has our story.
This morning, a second wave of winter weather as deadly storms sweep the country from the northeast to the southwest. Icy conditions wreaking havoc.
Boom! Oh my goodness.
In Atlanta, a fiery 26-car crash, leaving at least one person dead. In Austin,
I've got approximately 16 cars on this top. I can't access even half of them.
26 cars in this massive wreck.
Oh my God. Oh.
But the biggest disaster was in Fort Worth, where at least 6 people are dead and 65 injured after this devastating pileup. More than 130 vehicles caught in this chain reaction nightmare, leaving behind a trail of mangled vehicles stretching for a mile and a half. Survivors sharing their gut-wrenching stories of what it was like trapped in all that wreckage.
There were cars stacked on top of cars. The fact that I am not severely injured or dead is nothing short of a miracle.
Rebecca Benson was on her way to work.
You can hear semi after semi after semi hitting the group of cars.
Alicia Stone says she had to crawl out of her back window after her car, seen here, got sandwiched between 2 semis.
You could just hear them yelling, but nobody could do anything.
Officials are investigating whether the city treated the roads before the freezing rain. And now a new wave of even colder weather is threatening huge swaths of the country. Texas bracing for a second round of icy storms this weekend, while the Midwest will see sub-zero temperatures, wind chills dropping to 30 below zero. Temperatures so low that salt and road chemicals may not be able to keep the roads clear of ice. Mona Kozar-Abdi, ABC News, New York.
Let's take a look now at today's COVID-19 numbers. The Erie County Health Department reporting 5 additional deaths from COVID-19 today. The death toll now stands at 418. 56 new positive cases were reported today, with the total now reaching 16,384. Crawford County officials are reporting 18 additional cases. Warren County was up 2. In Chautauqua County, New York, Ashtabula, Ohio have not yet reported today's numbers. Across the Commonwealth, the State Department of Health reporting 3,987 new cases, bringing the cumulative number now to over 888,000. Health officials at the Martin Luther King Center are seeing low COVID-19 positive numbers. The center is known to provide free COVID testing, especially in an area that's underserved. Officials at the center say they typically provide COVID testing to hundreds of people, but well, now they're seeing less than 50 people getting tested, as well as positive results being less than 100 daily. Officials say this is a good sign for the center.
We still want our community to know we're still here doing testing. It's free. It's a free service. We do encourage people to still get tested because it is important whether you've been vaccinated or not.
If you're interested in finding out the hours of when the center provides COVID testing, just visit yourerie.com. Coming up on Jet 24 Action News at noon, the amazing story of a woman said to be 117 years old. She survived COVID. The story after the break.
Want the whole story? Go to YourErie.com, where you'll have access to digital exclusive news stories and extended interviews. On the go and want to stay connected to what's happening? No problem. Use the Your Erie to Go app and enjoy all the same digital exclusive content, where you want it, when you need it. Stay informed and stay connected with YourErie.com and Your Erie to Go digital exclusives. Your Erie to Go, available for both Android and iOS.
See live views from around our area on YourErie.com's WeatherCam network. See shots from the WeatherCam network during every newscast and online anytime at YourErie.com.
Come rain or come shine, summer is here, and so is your weather authority, the most experienced weather team in the area, and the most up-to-date technology to keep you prepared and safe for whatever Mother Nature brings all summer long. Just like you know how unpredictable our weather can be, you know to count on your weather authority so you can stay comfortable and safe. Tom, and Craig, online, on the go, on air, wherever you need them. Jet 24 is your summer weather authority.
This week, Jill McCormick sits down with local leaders and organizers for the whole story. Go to YourErie.com and the Your Erie to Go app's digital exclusives. Want your news first? We've got you covered.
Download the Your Erie to Go app now.
Get news alerts sent straight to your phone.
Stay safe and informed with severe weather warnings and regular weather updates, whenever and wherever you need them.
Download Your Erie to Go now from the App Store for free.
Get your Jet 24 news and weather where you need it and when you want it. Your Erie to Go. Available for both Android and iOS. Download it for free and stay connected.
Time for some entertainment news. Here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois Black Panther Party.
A good weekend for streaming new movies that are being nominated for awards. Judas and the Black Messiah, out today on HBO Max and in limited theaters, based on the true story of an FBI informant who infiltrated the Black Panthers in Chicago in the 60s. Minari, out in limited release, also getting a lot of buzz. The story of an immigrant family trying to make it in America. And Land stars Robin Wright, her directorial debut. It's about a woman so consumed with grief that she decides to isolate herself in the Rockies. And Wright tells me the hardest part about picking this particular film for her first behind the camera?
It was so cold there. We need another word for freezing. It was like freezing was an understatement. It was, trying to keep yourself sane in the weather.
Land is also in select theaters and streaming on demand. Also, some challenges in filming the new season of American Idol, the auditions, and everything else done with strict COVID protocols, or virtually. Judge Katy Perry telling me the toughest thing for her.
Not being able to actually hug the contestants, especially when they're hurting and when they're sharing their stories or they've triumphed.
Watch it with your Valentine. The new season of American Idol debuts Sunday night on ABC. And happy birthday this Friday to Arsenio Hall. The actor, comedian, and talk show host is 65, while actress Christina Ricci is 41. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, this next woman is a survivor in more ways than one. At the age of 117, Sister Andre celebrating her birthday with a cake and a prayer Thursday. She was a young teenager when the Spanish flu infected an estimated 1/3 of the world's population between 1918 and 1920 and may have killed 50 million people. Her brother was one of them. Less than 4 weeks ago, Sister Andre tested positive for COVID-19, but she displayed no symptoms, going on to live another year. Well, Tom with a final look at the forecast when we come back.
Go to YourErie.com, where you'll have access to digital exclusive news stories and extended interviews. On the go and want to stay connected to what's happening? No problem. Use the Your Erie to Go app and enjoy all the same digital exclusive content, where you want it, when you need it. Stay informed and stay connected with YourErie.com and Your Erie to Go digital exclusives. Your Erie to Go, available for both Android and iOS.
See live views from around our area on YourErie.com's WeatherCam network. See shots from the WeatherCam network during every newscast and online anytime at YourErie.com.
Come rain or come shine, summer is here, and so is your weather authority, the most experienced weather team in the area, and the most up-to-date technology to keep you prepared and safe for whatever Mother Nature brings all summer long. Just like you know how unpredictable our weather can be, you know to count on your weather authority so you can stay comfortable and safe. Tom, and Craig, online, on the go, on air, wherever you need them. Jet 24 is your summer weather authority.
This week, Jill McCormick sits down with local leaders and organizers for the whole story. Go to YourErie.com and the Your Erie To Go app's digital exclusives. Want your news first? We've got you covered.
Download the Your Erie To Go app now.
Get news alerts sent straight to your phone.
Stay safe and informed with severe weather warnings and regular weather updates, whenever and wherever you need them.
Download Your Erie To Go now from the App Store for free.
Get your Jet 24 news and weather where you need it and when you want it. Your Erie To Go. Available for both Android and iOS. Download it for free and stay connected.
Have some peeks of sun through the clouds for the afternoon and a few flurries for tonight. A little snow for Saturday, flurries on Valentine's Day. Could be some good snow early next week.
All right, be prepared. Thanks, Tom. That's all the time we have for Action News at noon. If you missed our top stories, you can see them anytime online at YourErie.com. And don't forget, tune in tonight at 5 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone.
Enjoy your weekend, too.